Okay, Steve Mazzone here with Salle Academy coaches Eldon Santiago and Bill Myers. And what we're dealing with right now is some unprecedented times with this coronavirus and how it's put a kind of a standstill to our everyday living. So this is going to be one of several video type chats that I'm hoping to do with coaches and athletes. So I do encourage any other coaches or athletes to reach out to me at smazone5@gmail.com. I think these videos will not only be informative, but also maybe a little inspiring, which I think we all could use right now at this time. And before I begin, I just want to just remind everyone to continue to listen to the medical experts in what they're telling us to do with the social distancing, with washing our hands at least 20 seconds, not touching our face and eyes and nose. If you're sick, to stay away from people. But if you have a fever for a couple of days, to definitely seek out your physician and possibly get checked. But the more that we all cooperate with this, the quicker this thing will go away. But guys, how are you guys doing during this time? I know it's a difficult time, but how are you guys doing right now?
I guess I'll go first.
Get
I think as could be expected, Steve and I were just chatting a little bit before we got started, and so dealing with this both from a teacher standpoint and as a coach, it's certainly unprecedented. That's the term that's being used a lot, and I think it's applicable because I don't think any of us knows how to operate under circumstances like this, and so I think that we're doing the best that we can to try to remain some sense of normalcy with our daily lives as we deal with this current situation.
Yeah, how about you, Bill?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Yeah, just I work out of my house as best as I can, getting a lot of yard work done and things around the house, and just getting through. It's just a crazy time, and just hope everyone stays safe.
Yeah, and I think on the positive side, it's we joke about it, but I think it's at least given us some more quality time with our families, which I think is important at this time. So, I mean, to look at the positive side. So, guys, I want to begin with the timing of this coronavirus and when everything started to come into fruition. Any time is not a good time, but I think in particular for track and field athletes, some of our top track and field athletes, the timing couldn't have come at a worse time with the New Balance Nationals happening that weekend and then eventually getting canceled. And I know you guys had a decent amount of individuals going down there, and you had the potential to have some podium placements there as well. Guys, how difficult was this during this time, and how did your athletes react with what was going on? I know track and field athletes are resilient. They'll bounce back, and how did your athletes react to this, in how difficult was it?
Get Eldon, go first.
Well, I think, disappointment, I guess, is sort of the term that gets thrown around a lot. Our guys work so hard, as with everyone else. Your interview where you did with Keith, right, mentioning some of the top athletes in our state. Rhode Island is a small state, but we definitely punch well above our weight when it comes to track and field at the national level. That was the case last year, particularly with the sprint medley, where you had 3 of the top 6 finishes at indoor nationals being Rhode Island teams with LaSalle, St. Ray's, and Classical. And I think that was certainly could have been the case again this year, having Rhode Island teams do very well. Personally, from our guys, we had 3 relay teams that we felt could have finished All-American, and the guys worked really hard all season gearing up for that. To have it sort of end up the way that it did, obviously we understand the reason why, but certainly disappointment. And our guys, really, they wanted to go there and wanted to be able to showcase their talent and to be able to show that we have quality runners here in the state of Rhode Island.
Absolutely. Yeah. The one thing I want to say is, I know it's difficult for these athletes not being able to compete at the nationals, but one thing they should take solace in is the fact that they made it to nationals, whether it's the emerging elite or the championship division or even the freshman division. So they should take solace that they made it that far. Not a lot of people make it. And I hear that they're getting their backpacks, which is always a coveted item for them to get. They should look at
Wow.
that as probably maybe the medal that possibly could have been draped around their neck, but at least they have that as a memento that they made it that far.
Yeah, I mean that's a sore subject with me. I know that, but anyway, what are you gonna do? It is what it is, and just gotta move forward with that. But the guys worked hard all year, and we had a good DMR team, and I think we'd have a good 4x mile team as well. But you know, certain things you can control and certain things you can't control. So just gotta move forward and hope for the best.
So guys, how about now? What are you doing to keep these kids motivated, to keep them fit? What's some of the things that you're doing?
Bill, go ahead. You can go first, and then I'll talk.
All right. We just kind of communicate with the guys before, everything broke apart, and I think some guys took some time off, maybe a few days off here and there, and just been communicating through text messages, really, on just a plan for training and stuff like that. So again, safety first, right? So we got to make sure that everyone's staying safe and secure. Unfortunately, the coaches can't be with the kids. So it's going to be up to the kids and how motivated they are. So I think they're getting it done at home and on their own. So, hopefully they're taking care of it.
Yeah, and Bill brings up some great points. It's I think obviously with the distance runners, maybe this is easier, for lack of a better term, for them, because they can just hit the road, and everybody they all got their smartwatches and smartphones, and so they can log in how many miles they're doing a day. Sprinters, same thing, right? They're in that same category where they're what I've personally done. Using the Google Classroom, which is the best way to communicate, I think, with my team anyway. The guys are all on there. I post messages, and obviously they get content right away, and I can post video content. And so what I've done for our sprinters is I put together a 5-day plan that they can follow with a couple of actually a 7-day plan, 5 days of working out, a couple of days off in there, that they can use to maintain that level of fitness, maintain that edge. Obviously, the hope is that they will have an opportunity to run, and when that's the case, we want to make sure that we can hit the ground running. No pun intended in that. So for us, I think the difficult part is the events where it requires a lot of technique, our throwers and the jumpers, where you kind of need the repetition. I feel for them, this probably is hardest to deal with, but there are different ways to supplement that. Personally, my throwing coach, Tom Conley's been, working with our throwers even remotely, giving them lifting programs and sending them things that they can do at home in their yard, so that they maintain the level of competition, maintain themselves ready for that level of competition that hopefully we will get to have at some point this spring.
Yeah, it looks like they're at least postponing it to April 4th, but I'm thinking it's going to go further than that as far as the season. But even I think if we can get a month, I think that would put a smile on a lot of people's faces if that can happen. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys saw what one of your team members did, Max DiMuccio. I reached out to the athletes and the coaches if they could send any videos or photos, just some things to inspire people out there. And Max sent a great video of a track workout he did. Looked like a very tough track workout, 4 time miles at 5-minute pace. So pretty tough. But I thought that was awesome that he did it. And I do encourage other people to do that, to send stuff like that. And Max also gave some great words of advice too there, that we're all in this together. And basically, whether a season or not, we still got to get out there and train. I thought he gave some great points.
Yeah, I mean that's what leaders do. He was a great captain during cross country, and he showed those qualities then. And he's continuing to do that. So, and it just shows his motivation and how good he wants to be, and he's feeling good. So that was a great video he did.
Yeah,
And,
no, absolutely. And Max is the sort of guy that everyone wants to coach, not because of the talent that's there, but just his effort, and he's such a professional in the way that he approaches it, and he's got a business mentality of understanding that you can't cut corners. And he brings it day in and day out, and what makes it such a fun group of guys to coach, which I had the opportunity to do a lot more with them this indoor season while Coach Myers was transitioning to a different job position. So spending more time with those guys, just seeing that they definitely have a pack mentality of we're in this together, and to see those guys hit the road every single day. No excuses, whether it's freezing cold, raining, snow, whatever. If they lace up and they hit the road, and those guys motivate and push each other, and it's awesome to see that. And what you see there in that video for Max is what we see day in and day out at practice. It's not Max putting on a show or anything of the sort. That's just who he is. And so as coaches, we can't be more proud of that sort of leadership, especially for the younger guys who are going to follow in that footstep and continue our tradition of excellence at LaSalle.
yeah, and Max has certainly proved it out on the track. I mean, winning a 3K indoor title this year. But how about you guys too, coming so close to winning a state title? So now with the outdoor season possibly being postponed, but were you guys looking at a season that, an outdoor season, if the season does happen, that this is a team that could challenge for that outdoor title?
Well, listen, that for us, I think, obviously we sit down before the state meet and we look realistically, what do we have? What can we do? How many points can we get in different events? And it ended up being a lot closer than we thought it was going to be. We had tremendous individual performances. As you mentioned, Max did phenomenal in that 3K, and Jack McLaughlin, someone who's come along and obviously had a phenomenal cross country season, and then continued that indoor. Our 4x2 relay team, we had a bunch of injuries, so we were just sort of filling in as we went along the season. And guys just stepped up. A lot of our younger guys who have sort of been waiting around. I mean, we've had some quality sprinters over the last couple of seasons. Jelon O'Connor, who's doing tremendous at Merrimack now, and Max Goriaran, who's at BU. And so those guys left some big shoes to fill, and some of our younger guys really stepped up. They were hungry for the challenge, and they did tremendous for us this season. And Stephen Doss, who he's just an elite talent. It speaks for itself, and the fact that he was then able to go out and win the long jump, which that just speaks to the level of talent that he had. The idea sort of came to me last spring, after a workout. Some of our jumpers were on the long jump pit, and Steve just wandered over and said, "Hey, coach, let me try to jump." And so I let him in. I mean, steps were all off, and I'm pretty sure it was a foul jump. But I mean, the length that he jumped sort of sparked that seed in me to say, you know what, maybe just maybe we can get something out of Steve in this event. And I told him, Steve, you only need one jump, and because he's very concerned about whether or not it was going to make him tired for his main event, the 300. But I said, look, all you need is one jump, and you can put this thing to bed. And that's exactly what he did with his first jump. And so that was tremendous to see. And our 4x4 team and our 4x8 guys, which I love watching those guys run. Ashton Burnett, Alan Curry, Lachlan Bishop, and Chase, who was injured this season but was able to come back and give us that contribution. So up and down the roster, I mean, the guys were tremendous, and it just to get so close and to fall short, it definitely hurt, and the guys were hurting, but they're resilient, and they were hungry, just fueled the fire for an outdoor season. So hopefully we will have an opportunity to have a rebuttal. Hendricken is a phenomenal program, and those guys do a great job, and we have nothing but respect for those athletes. And iron sharpens iron, and they bring out the best in us, as I'm sure we do that to them. And so we just look forward to, for the opportunity to compete again.
I think both your teams bring out the best in a lot of the Rhode Island athletes. Besides each other, I think throughout the state, by what you guys both do.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, Steve. All we ask our guys is to compete. You know, we work hard, we get ready, and we just ask these guys to compete to the best of their ability and to be ready in the big day. So, and they did that during the indoor season. And unfortunately, I think this outdoor season might be cut short. But who knows what's going to happen?
Now, I know as coaches, you guys are always trying to inspire your athletes with what you say. Well, what's some things you could say to the other athletes out there as they go through this difficult time? What's some words do you think you could say to them?
So just be safe. Just
sure.
be safe out there, and you know, listen to your parents, listen to the doctors, listen to, I guess, the news and the reports and stuff. As far as training, just get out there to your best ability, and you know, get something done. Don't do nothing, sitting on your butt every day. But just get out of the house and make something happen.
Yeah, and just to second that, I think that track athletes are probably better equipped to handle this than any other sport, just because a lot of what we do with track, I mean, so it's a team sport, but it's all individual, right? And every time you step to the line, every time you step in the circle to throw, I mean, you're competing against other athletes, but in reality, you're competing against yourself. You're trying to best yourself. And so for them, hopefully this is an easy transition, and that, you know, they can get out there on their own and, you know, and stay active, as Bill just said, you know, get in a couple of miles, or get in 8 miles for some of our distance runners, and, you know, mid-distance and sprinters. Again, not just sitting around, because, you know, then that's when you start to lose that edge, and it's essential, you know, to stay ready, because even if we only get a month to be able to compete, you know, we have to come out of the gate hard and fast, and get ready for the end of the season. So hopefully that's the case, and, you know, our seniors will have that opportunity to compete before they move on to college and go on to bigger things.
Guys, thanks a lot. That's great. That's some great information. Before I conclude, I just want to mention Marathon Sports, which powers this website, as well as Bay State Running, our Massachusetts site, and does a lot for track and field athletes. Does want people to know that athletes and coaches, if you still need any gear, you can still go to marathonsports.com and just put in the code word Team Night 2020. And you can get 20% off all shoes and apparel. So just like everybody else, they could definitely use your help during this time. And again, you can get 20% off any shoes or apparel, and they have a lot. So I would encourage you to help support Marathon Sports, because again, they do a lot for track and field in Massachusetts, and starting to do it in Rhode Island. But guys, I appreciate everything that you said today. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. And again, I encourage other coaches and athletes to reach out to me, and so we can do more of these, because I do think they're not only informative but inspiring at this time. But again, my email address, smazone5@gmail.com. But again, guys, I thank you for taking this time.
Thank you, Steve, for all your hard work. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Steve. Absolutely appreciate it. And, you know, best of luck to all the other coaches and athletes, and, you know, stay ready, and hopefully we'll see you guys out on the track.
Thanks a lot.